I'd like to call the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee meeting to order. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment
All right.
signed up.
All right. Item number 3, consider approving the consent agenda from the October 16th meeting. I hear a motion.
I'll motion that.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Regular agenda, consider accepting monthly shelter performance for October 2025. Presentation by Animal Services Manager Amanda Weedle.
Thank you. So for the month of October, we had 275 new arrivals at the shelter. Of those, we had 135 adoptions/transfers. The adoptions, we will note that they are not the full scope of what was signed on contract for the month of October. These are the ones that have had their surgery and have left the building. We actually had 47 adopted total for the month, but some were still within the shelter for their surgeries to be completed. We had 46 redeemed by owner, 12 released wildlife, 111 deceased, and by the end of the month, 309 left in custody with a 60.42 release rate. Of the 111 deceased dogs, 70 were dogs, 40 were cats, and 1 was an other. For those deceased, 19 were euthanized for aggression, 55 for sick or injured, 29 for capacity, and 8 died in custody. Those were kittens that were nursing on their mother and failure to thrive. For field services, we had 361 calls, 176 were strays, 75 were enforcement rechecks, 70 were wildlife, 17 bite investigations, 8 transports, and 15 owner release/seizure intakes. One of those included a 27-dog cruelty seizure investigation that we actually, at the first of the month, were awarded all 27 dogs. We also got citation statistics from municipal court. We issued 34 citations with 7 at large, 3 failure to microchip, 12 for failure to spay or neuter, 11 for failure to vaccinate, and 1 for small animals too close to a residence.
On that last item where it was small animals within 100 feet of residence, what kind of animals were those?
I don't have the details of that one. I believe it's usually livestock that's too close to the neighboring residence.
And just for a point of clarification, I'm just going to make an example. I don't know what this was, but let's just say they were chickens. Mm-hmm. So how many chickens can a person own or maintain within the city limits, even if they've met the 100-foot standard?
So I do have to verify through the ordinance. I'm still memorizing each ordinance section because it is fairly new.
I have it if you
Morgan
like.
can help.
So there's no limit on the number of chickens you can have. You just have to have distance. So you have to have 100-foot distance from any neighboring structures that are not your own. There is a limit on the number of roosters. You may only have 1 rooster inside city limits, but the number of hens is just based on your ability to properly care for them, as long as you have distance.
Okay, thank you. I just brought it up just as a point of public clarity, that's all.
And it's same for our other livestock restrictions. So goat, sheep, cattle, you just have to have that distance, and you have to have sufficient care to meet standards.
Okay. And during our last meeting, I raised a question about the separation in bite investigations between human bites and other animal bites. And did we look at that?
I don't
Do
have
we
it
know?
for October, do you?
No, I do not have the separation of that. However, we are actively working with the ordinance as far as separation of that, to get that separated, to meet state standards better.
Yeah, I think that would be good public knowledge thing, is what I'm thinking about that.
I have a question. On these failure to spay, neuter, vaccinate, and microchip, are those on just stray calls, or are those because a dog's been picked up and brought to the shelter? And
So it
they're-
can be both.
So do you
So
know-
if I don't know the specifics as far as if it's during a redemption or on site in the field. These numbers I was able to get from municipal court. I will tell you that none of them are under deferred adjudication. All of them are paying the fine or failure to appear.
Do they have the options of getting them fixed and avoiding the,
So the courts have told us that if someone gets into compliance and shows good faith with compliance, that they will work with them.
okay,
However, what standard of that, that is on the court side, not on animal services side.
okay. And then I was going to ask about, you said about the chickens. Is anything in the city limits different? Like, is it different areas zoned, or is it just because, like, some neighborhoods don't have that distance that they can't, so they can't have chickens? 'Cause-
It's just based on distance. There's no zoning
And
requirement.
so it's lot size.
If it was some kind of commercial enterprise, like you were selling poultry, then that would be certainly under planning and development services to review. But, having chickens for your own small use is what the Animal Services Code governs.
Okay,
So as long as you're not running a business out of your home, then that's what we're discussing here.
okay.
Are there any other questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. Follow-up on administrative issues, I, at this time, have none. Anyone else?
I just wanted to make sure I had the next meeting recorded for December. Do we have a date? The 18th, December 18th? We're still going with that? Okay.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
I do have a question. I brought it up. We've discussed a little bit more about getting the pups that are at the shelter. How do we get them to be adopted out? More of them to get adopted out, and what can be done? Because 29 of them unfortunately had to die because of capacity, and I understand that, and we have to do that. But I brought up about having more volunteers. I know it's going to require a paid position for a volunteer coordinator to get certain things out, like on a Saturday going over to the pet store and having a fair with some of the animals out there, which I know that volunteers would do it, but I'm sure you'd have to have a paid position person there to do that. Is that something that can be discussed more with the city about funding and finding ways to get more adoption fairs going for these pups and kitties?
So we have been looking at a fostering program and a volunteer program. However, right now we're trying to build that structure of what it would look like so that we would know proper staffing that we would need. That is probably something that we would be looking at the next fiscal budget to request as far as staffing goes. As far as PetSmart Petco, we have already put feelers out with them to see what it would take to be a part of their adoption programs. And we are working on that to see about doing off-sites. Additionally, we have seen a lot of positive traction with our additional Facebook posts. Unfortunately, with me being out the last 2 weeks, those did slow down because I was not able to do that. But just like today, the cat one did go out. We have a surrender one that we're trying to weekly get out to showcase the surrender dogs. We have seen positive adoptions in the first month that we've done adoptions. Like I said, we did 47, because the numbers that we show in here, in the presentation, which future presentations, I am going to split up adoption and transfer, because I think it is imperative to see the difference between the two. But they do not show the full scope of the adoptions, because those are ones that we have cleared out in the computer as far as they have left the building completely. However, right now we have a 2-week backlog on the spay and neuters of adopted animals. And so we are housing adopted animals until their surgery. They won't technically count until they've checked out and gone to the vet for their fixings.
Yes.
So the numbers are higher than what they appear at the end of the month, because those are already scheduled for their appointments.
Yeah. Okay. Is it something that we can possibly get a timeline as to when we can hear more about it? About, what's happening, even make it part of the discussion here about, oh, we got a whole, PetSmart's decided that they want to allow us to bring in
So as
cats, let's say.
I do gain information, I will include it in the
Thank you.
meetings. Unfortunately, like I said, had a bit of a roadblock.
Yeah.
But I'm getting rolling again on all of the things that
Great.
we're doing.
Great, thank you.
Well, I have one quick follow-up question, and just briefly, have we made any decisions, or is any progress being made toward the rehabilitation for the shelter?
So we are having active weekly meetings regarding the building and what the current building needs to maintain, while we do a separate new building plan. I'm not at liberty to go into details on that. We are looking at potentially having something forth in the future city council meetings, and at that time I would be able to give more detail. But we are looking at different repairs to the current building, and we've gotten active quotes on those, as well as long-term plans for a better setup.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any other follow-up administrative issues, questions? Looking for a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.